Tonight, a stunning admission from former presidential hopeful John Edwards. He admits to an affair, but denies he fathered a baby out of wedlock. I'm Russ Mitchell. Also tonight, Russian Prime Minister Putin tells President Bush Russia is at war. Russian tanks and warplanes attack in force across the Georgian border. More than 1,000 may have been killed so far. Follow the money, a Medicare scam that cost the government tens of millions of dollars, but you were footing the bill. And 15 miles on the Erie Canal, a traveling musician beats the high cost of gas in tonight's Assignment America.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
And good evening. Katie is on assignment. We begin with a story that's sending shockwaves through the presidential campaign. After months of denials, former candidate John Edwards admitted today that he had an extramarital affair while his wife was battling cancer, though he denied reports that he fathered a child out of wedlock. In a statement, Edwards said, "I made a serious error in judgment and conducted myself in a way that was disloyal to my family and my core beliefs. I recognized my mistake and told my wife that I had a liaison with another woman, and I asked for her forgiveness." The admission stunned colleagues. His former campaign chairman, David Bonnier, said today thousands of friends and supporters of Senator Edwards put their faith and confidence in him, and he has let them down. Our Bob Schieffer spoke late this afternoon with both John and Elizabeth Edwards. We'll go to him for more in just a moment. But first, here's Jeff Greenfield.
For 2 weeks, it's been the biggest story never told, at least not by the mainstream media. The report in the National Enquirer tabloid that former Senator John Edwards had fathered a child by 44-year-old video producer Relly Hunter, had lied about it throughout his presidential campaign, had been caught by Enquirer reporters visiting Hunter and the baby at a Beverly Hills hotel in the middle of the night, and had literally run away from them. Today, after repeatedly refusing to talk about this story, Edwards told a TV interviewer yes and no. Yes, he'd had an affair with Hunter. No, he wasn't the father of her child. Hunter and an Edwards aide, Andy Young, both said publicly months ago that Young was the father, though the birth certificate lists no name for the father. Edwards said the affair had ended long before Hunter became pregnant. They'd met back in 2006, and she traveled with him to Africa, later producing video for his website.
Meeting John Edwards was interesting. He was very real and authentic. He was inspirational to me.
When the Enquirer alleged last October that Edwards and Hunter had had an affair, the candidate flatly denied it. But today, in a written statement, Edwards said, quote, "In the course of several campaigns, I started to believe that I was special and became increasingly egocentric and narcissistic. If you want to beat me up, feel free. You cannot beat me up more than I have already beaten up myself. I have been stripped bare."
What do you want?
The story goes far beyond the familiar tale of a powerful public man with private flaws. For one thing, John Edwards' wife, Elizabeth, has long been his closest political partner. Diagnosed with breast cancer just after the 2004 election, she has suffered a life-threatening recurrence, which John Edwards cited in the course of his 2008 campaign. And last fall, in an interview with Katie Couric, Edwards himself cited infidelity as a character flaw voters might well count as disabling in a potential president.
For a lot of Americans, including the family that I grew up with, I mean, it's fundamental to how you judge people and human character, whether you keep your word, whether you keep what is your ultimate word, which is that you love your spouse and you'll stay with them.
Today, as increasing media and political pressure forced Edwards' hand, those who'd supported and worked for him expressed a range of emotions, from anger to shock. Joe Trippi was a top Edwards campaign strategist.
I don't know if numb's the word, but you know, it's more disappointing. But again, my biggest concern is the family right now.
Maybe the most astonishing part of this story is that after Gary Hart's campaign collapsed in scandal 21 years ago, after Bill Clinton twice came close to political death, a major presidential candidate would have risked his entire campaign and perhaps his party's hopes for the White House by running with the threat of scandal hanging over his head. Russ?
Jeff Greenfield, thank you very much. Bob Schieffer, CBS News Chief Washington correspondent and the host of Face the Nation. And Bob, as we said, you spoke with both John and Elizabeth Edwards just a few minutes ago, really. What did they tell you?
Well, just before we went on the air tonight, John Edwards actually called me, Russ, and said he wanted to talk. He said that all this happened back in 2006, before he announced that he was running for president. And he told his wife, Elizabeth, he said, about it then, and that she forgave him. He said because of that, he thought it was just between them. Now, I've known John Edwards a long time, and I asked him if I could talk to Elizabeth, and she came on the phone. She was obviously in tears. She did not say much, but she told me that he had, in fact, told her about it back in 2006, and they had decided to just move on. Now, why did he decide to tell it now? He told me, he said he just couldn't live with a constant pounding from the tabloids. It wasn't going to stop. He said, I was being dogged and dogged for the sake of my family, and I just had to end it for the sake of my family. So he decided to confirm it today and go on, he said. He said repeatedly that he took full responsibility for this. He told me he was certain the child was not his, that the affair was over long ago. When I asked him how Elizabeth was doing, he said she is just amazing, as she always is. When I asked her how she was doing, she said, this is really, really tough. When I asked him why he had denied the story over and over, he said, well, because so many of the stories had so much false information in them. He said, what I should have done is confirm the part that was true and then just live with it. He said he had no plans to go to the Democratic Convention. I asked him where he goes from here, and he said, I really don't know. Russ.
Okay, Bob, thank you. Before you get away, what do you have this week on Face the Nation?
Well, unless something else happens here, we're planning on having Virginia Governor Tim Kaine, who's on Obama's short list for vice president, and Karl Rove, the man who engineered two winning victories for two winning campaigns for George Bush.
Okay, Bob Schieffer in Washington again. Thank you very much. Overseas, a fierce battle broke out today on the fringe of the former Soviet Union. Tonight, Secretary of State Rice is calling on Russia to end its assault on the Republic of Georgia, now a U.S. ally. The fighting is in Georgia's province of South Ossetia, home to many Russians who are still loyal to the Kremlin and want to break away from Georgia. Richard Roth has the latest.
Columns of Russian tanks and troops rolled into the American-backed former Soviet Republic of Georgia today after a nighttime barrage of artillery fire and rockets. Georgia said it was trying to retake control of South Ossetia, the breakaway province on Russia's border that's policed by Russian peacekeepers. Claiming more than 10 of its soldiers were killed in the night attack, Moscow said it would retaliate. Russian jets bombed 4 airfields, according to Georgia, and there are conflicting reports tonight over who's controlling Ossetia's main city. Separatists there claim as many as 1,000 people have been killed in the fighting. Journalist Georgi Lomsadze.
We're very scared, and some people are trapped right now. Many civilians are trapped in their houses and their cellars as very heavy fighting still goes on.
Roads to the Russian border are filling with refugees, and Georgia's capital tonight is filled with tension.
But nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows if Russia eventually moves to use all its military might against Georgia, because in that case, Georgia doesn't stand a chance.
President Bush and Russian Prime Minister Putin talked about it at the Olympics, where, according to a Russian spokesman, Putin bluntly told the president war has started today. Moscow puts blame on the U.S. and its allies, saying what made Georgia's offensive possible was military aid from the West. The U.S. responded with a call that sounded like an echo of the Cold War, demanding a ceasefire and a pullback of Russian troops from foreign soil. Richard Roth, CBS News, London.
In Texas this Friday, a religious pilgrimage ended in tragedy. A charter bus carrying a Vietnamese church group blew a tire and skidded off a freeway north of Dallas. 14 people died and more than 40 were injured. The bus was carrying 55 people from Houston to a Roman Catholic festival in Carthage, Missouri. On the CBS News Money Watch, the price of oil continues to drop. Today, it fell by nearly $5 to $115 a barrel. That's a 3-month low. That sent stock prices soaring. The Dow gained more than 300 points, while the NASDAQ rose by 58. There is more CBS News ahead. Up next, it's a simple medical procedure, but 2 whistleblowers say their company charged taxpayers 10 times what it should have. We will follow the money.
The The generation that swore it would never get old didn't. Welcome to the summer of life. New Touch of Gray from Just for Men. Lets you keep a little gray. Works gradually. Easy.
Never trust anybody over 90.
New Touch of Gray.
I'm Mark Goldston, Chairman and CEO of Net Zero. All internet providers take you to the same internet, so why pay more to get there? Net Zero is only $9.95 a month, and we give you a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 1-800-NET-ZERO or visit netzero.com.
CarAndDriver.com named the Santa Fe one of the 10 most fuel-efficient three-row SUVs. The Santa Fe gets better gas mileage than the Mazda CX-7 and the Ford Edge. Right now, you can get up to $3,500 cash back to invest in, say, your home or a retirement plan.
We should road trip.
Hurry in and get up to $3,500 cash back on a 2008 Hyundai Santa Fe with 24 miles per gallon. Better than a Mazda CX-7 or Ford Edge.
My fibromyalgia muscle pain wasn't something you could see, but I felt it all over. Some days, I had to push myself to leave the house and do everyday things. Then my doctor told me about prescription Lyrica. It's not an antidepressant. Lyrica is FDA approved for fibromyalgia. And clinical studies have shown that Lyrica can help reduce the unique pain of fibromyalgia and improve function. So now I have less pain, and I can do more during my day. Lyrica is not for everyone. Tell your doctor about any serious allergic reaction that causes swelling or affects breathing or skin or changes in eyesight, including blurry vision or muscle pain with fever or tired feeling. Some of the most common side effects of Lyrica are dizziness, sleepiness, weight gain, and swelling of hands and feet. Do not drink alcohol while taking Lyrica. You should not drive or operate machinery until you know how Lyrica affects you. Help for fibromyalgia pain can start here. Ask your doctor about Lyrica.
There's a place called Hidden Valley, where kids not only eat their vegetables, they can't get enough. Hidden Valley Ranch makes vegetables delectable. And now in the produce section, you can find new refrigerated Hidden Valley Ranch.
Medicare spends more than $400 billion a year on health care for the elderly and disabled. And when providers pad the bill, it's the taxpayer who winds up paying. Now taxpayers are getting a refund from one big Medicare provider thanks to two whistleblowers. Cheryl Atkinson follows the money.
For people with osteoporosis, a painful bone disease, this simple medical device can help. Doctors use it to inject bone filler and repair tiny fractures. The procedure, called kyphoplasty, can be done in about an hour without putting the patient to sleep. But Kyphon, the company that made the device, stood to make a lot more money if patients were admitted to the hospital for expensive overnight stays.
Were you aware that patients could get up sometimes an hour later and walk out?
I was aware of that.
Chuck Bates was a top sales manager for Kyphon.
The salespeople were going out to hospitals and to surgeons saying, you need to do this as inpatient.
Which was unnecessary.
Which was unnecessary.
As an outpatient procedure, Medicare would pay about $1,000 for kyphoplasty. But as an inpatient procedure, Medicare paid up to $10,000, your tax dollars. Kyphon's net sales skyrocketed. The sales force was rolling in dough.
As a salesman, you were making a lot of money.
The average sales rep made $220,000 a year.
But the good times came crashing down when Bates found out through a hospital consultant that it's improper under Medicare to admit patients for what should be outpatient surgery. He felt he had to act.
I mean, as a salesperson, you know, you love to make money, but you want to make money ethically.
Around the same time, in an entirely different division of Kyphon, Craig Patrick was also raising red flags internally. One day, while briefing his superiors, Patrick says a top Kyphon official cut him off.
In the middle of the presentation, General Counsel stops it. I had to say, and says, it's not your job to police the sales force.
So the head lawyer of the company was telling you this?
Absolutely. I told him there I understood what my job was, but we were breaking the law every day and we needed to fix it.
Though the two men had never met before, they both ended up taking their stories to the Justice Department, which began a fraud investigation. Kyphon recently settled the case, admitting no wrongdoing, but paying taxpayers back $75 million. Under whistleblower law, Bates and Patrick get to split $14 million. A company called Medtronic bought Kaifon last fall for nearly $4 billion and told us the whistleblower concerns were investigated thoroughly and appropriate action was taken. When Kaifon was sold, the executives got major payouts. That top lawyer, who Patrick says told him to keep quiet, reportedly received $14 million cash, which goes to show that kyphoplasty was good for patients and corporate executives, but it was taxpayers left feeling the pain. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Washington.
The news keeps getting worse for Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick. Just after getting out of jail, he was back before a judge today on new charges that he assaulted an officer last month. He now faces 10 felony charges in 2 separate cases. Kilpatrick spent last night behind bars for violating his bond agreement. When we come back, a dazzling opening night for the Olympics, while Chinese authorities wield an iron fist behind the scenes.
Monday, bad enough you're shelling out big bucks for home heating fuel. Now this winter, you may not even get what you prepaid for. Monday on the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Back pain? You don't have to just rely on pain relievers. Now you can take 2 of these. Dr. Scholl's Back Pain Relief Orthotics with Shock Guard. They're clinically proven and absorb jarring shock with every step you take. For back or knee pain, take Dr. Scholl's.
Impressive resume. I see you're flatulent in 3 languages, graduated top of your gas.
Got gas on your mind?
Your son Rip is on line toot.
Try Gas X. Powerful relief from pressure and bloating in a fast-dissolving strip. Gas X. Pressure's off.
You moisturize everywhere else. Why not your scalp? Give it the respect it deserves with Advanced Head & Shoulders conditioners. Its targeted moisturizers start at the scalp to nourish hair, leaving it softer, silkier, and 100% flake-free. Advanced Head & Shoulders conditioners. Respect the scalp, love the hair.
Tana asks, have you been here? Like that's ever gonna happen. So make sure you're protected with Tena's complete line of bladder weakness products. Tena, real protection for real life. Serenity has changed its name to Tena. Look for it on shelves today.
Digital television is here. Have you made the switch? The switch to digital TV has begun. Now here's the good news. You still have time to make the switch, but why wait? You can see crystal clear TV today. To find out more, click on the Ready, Set, No icon at WSBT.com.
What's the champion difference? Over 55 years of experience. Factory direct pricing. The Good Housekeeping Seal. Exclusive Comfort 365 glass. The best replacement windows in the industry. The champion difference is your easiest home improvement project ever.
Hey, you look great today.
Thanks. You too. For your free in-home consultation, call, click, or visit our Champion showroom today. Trust Champion.
The South Bend Tribune, 22 WSBT and News Talk 960 WSBT presents the Key Bank Gridiron Legends Luncheon Series at the College Football Hall of Fame, September 16th. Hear from Army celebrated Heisman Trophy winner Pete Dawkins. Call or visit the hall to reserve your seat.
China's long-awaited Olympic moment finally arrived tonight. The opening ceremonies were just as advertised, extravagant and expensive. The Beijing skies lit up with more than 30,000 fireworks. The National Stadium packed with world leaders, athletes, and spectators, as well as thousands of police. The American team was led into the stadium by distance runner Lopez Lemong, a former Sudanese refugee, now raising awareness of the suffering in Darfur. His choice sends a message to China's leaders who support Sudan's government. At 8:08 p.m. on the 8th day of the 8th month, 2008 drummers announced the opening of the Beijing Games. The ceremony lasted nearly 4 hours and cost $100 million, twice as much as the Athens opening 4 years ago. Even the finale was taken to the extreme. Hoisted by wires, China's gold medal gymnast Li Ning airwalked to the top of the stadium to ignite the flame. So all told, these Olympics feature the largest price tag, $40 billion and counting, and the biggest police presence. China's crackdown is in the name of security, but as Barry Peterson tells us, political and religious dissidents have been put on notice.
China's motto for its games is one world, one dream.
But since Huawei Chi's dream is religious freedom for Christians who meet outside of government-run churches, officials don't want him near their feel-good Olympic world. So they imprisoned his 78-year-old mother, and he says that last month police smashed into his apartment and warned him. Behave properly during the Olympics, the swarm of police told him, or we might make you disappear. His friend Chi Ju-young, whom we met in 2006, has disappeared. Dissidents fear security forces will use Olympic protection as an excuse for more roundups, but officials say the 100,000 soldiers are just keeping the games safe. They've even installed anti-aircraft guns around major venues.
For those who are in prison.
As for protest, especially on Tiananmen Square, police stopped them in seconds because each echoes the 1989 pro-democracy demonstration put down by gunfire. The Chinese didn't promise an open Olympics, just a secure one. And if they're successful, it might just backfire. Human rights campaigners say it could prompt the average Chinese to ask some very uncomfortable questions. And activist John Cam thinks he knows what those questions are.
We can create the fastest growing economy in the world. We can have a successful Olympic Games. Why can't we elect our own leaders?
And in the name of security, the Chinese seem intent on taking the fun out of the games. Outdoor cafes, banned. Music festivals, canceled. Forget celebrating all night. Bars will close at 2 a.m. sharp. And forget that promise the Chinese made about freedom of the press. These reporters were roughed up while covering a crowd buying tickets for the games. At the fancy new media center, internet sites the Chinese don't like are blocked. Just getting permission to get here, say some Americans, was an ordeal.
You never knew what they were going to reject it for. They always came back with extra questions.
And if that isn't enough, a $17 billion battle against air pollution bought a few blue sky days. Yet the soup over the city keeps coming back. So these could be the Olympics of one world, one dream, but lots of coughing. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Beijing.
Coming up next. Music drives him, but driving's too expensive. His solution in Assignment America.
Assignment America is sponsored by Stainmaster Carpet. Discover the new Stainmaster Carpet at a flooring retailer near you.
We can't promise that it will get you a raise, help the kids get along, make you look thinner, solve neighborhood disputes, or train the puppy. But Stainmaster Carpet does last up to 50% longer and stay up to 30% cleaner than other carpets, adding more comfort and style than ever to your home. And that's gotta make life a little easier. Discover the new Stainmaster Carpet at a retailer near you. For locations, visit stainmaster.com.
Introducing new Fix-It & Comfort with a soothing essence of natural chamomile. Helps prevent denture irritation while maintaining long, strong hold. Try new Fix-It & Comfort.
That's a 3-sheeter.
Nope. 1 sheeter.
Try 1 sheet of our best Bounty ever. It's our most absorbent. Bounty's durable. 1 sheet keeps working till the job's done. Bounty.
For pain across your whole back, Icy Hot has it covered.
Icy Hot Extra Large Patch starts icy to dull the pain, then hot to relax it away. For up to 8 hours of relief across your whole back.
Icy Hot has it covered.
Icy Hot XL. XL relief for XL pain.
We've been inspired by seafood dishes from around the country. Taste our New England lobster and crab bake. Or new Hawaiian Isle shrimp with macadamia-topped salmon. Right now at Red Lobster. Come see what's fresh today.
I didn't believe her.
I told her it's a different kind of laxative.
I still didn't believe her.
No constipation, no harsh side effects. Even your doctor recommends it.
Now I believe her.
Restore your body's natural rhythm with Miralax.
If you've had a heart attack caused by a completely blocked artery, another heart attack could be lurking, waiting to strike. A heart attack caused by a clot, one that could be fatal. But Plavix helps save lives. Plavix, taken with other heart medicines, goes beyond what other heart medicines do alone to provide greater protection against heart attack or stroke and even death by helping to keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots. Ask your doctor about Plavix, protection that helps save lives.
If you have a stomach ulcer or other condition that causes bleeding, you should not use Plavix. When taking Plavix alone or with some other medicines, including aspirin, the risk of bleeding may increase. So tell me before planning surgery. And always talk to me before taking aspirin or other medicines with Plavix, especially if you've had a stroke. If you develop fever, unexplained weakness, or confusion, tell me promptly, as these may be signs of a rare but potentially life-threatening condition called TTP, which has been reported rarely, sometimes in less than 2 weeks after starting therapy. Other rare but serious side effects may occur.
If you take Plavix with other heart medicines, continuing to do so will help increase your protection against a future heart attack or stroke beyond your other heart medicines alone. You may be feeling better, but your risk never goes away. Help stay protected. Stay with Plavix.
A busy and dangerous day for local firefighters as 2 fires destroy 3 businesses.
Tonight at 10 on SBT2, Comcast Cable 16.
Finally this evening, Steve Hartman has the story of a performer who's not a showboater, he's a paddle boater. Here's tonight's Assignment America.
It's never been an easy life. The life of the traveling coffee house musician. You play every song accompanied by an espresso machine. Play every night, hoping someone will look up from their vegan coffee cake and appreciate your art. 22-year-old Chris Bell is in the middle of just such a tour.
I see one guy that looks like he'll be listening.
That's your dad?
No, no.
Yes, that is your dad.
Well, 2 guys.
Okay. Chris depends mostly on tips to cover his living and travel expenses. It's always been a thin profit margin. But when gas prices shot up recently, it could have been curtains for his career.
I'm not mad. I mean, it's a fact of life. It happens. I just have to find a way around it.
Which he did. For this summer's tour, Chris left the highway behind for a transportation route that really hasn't been practical since horsepower was horsepower. The Erie Canal. Built in 1825, it was really America's first superhighway, running nearly 400 miles from Buffalo to Albany. Chris started paddling it 3 weeks ago, picking up gigs along the way. He even made a 50-mile side trip for a show in Ithaca. From there, we actually helped him get by car back to the canal, where he is now, making his way to the Hudson River. His final performance will be next month at a coffee house in New York City. By canoeing, Chris says he'll net twice as much money as he would driving.
Which is why Chris may have company out here pretty soon. Big corporations like General Electric are also rediscovering the Erie Canal, mostly for hauling heavy loads. In fact, canal authorities say the number of commercial trips on the canal has tripled this year.
If it goes to $5 a gallon, that means just to fill my tank, I have to sell 10 CDs a show.
But whether Chris is a harbinger or just another harmoniker, he has at least focused attention on this often overlooked treasure. Now, if he can just do the same for himself.
Occupied by the skin of my teeth.
And if gas prices don't come down substantially, Chris says next year he may try a sailing tour of Europe.
Hope our travel department wasn't watching that stuff. What do you have next week?
Okay. Of all the crazy things to do with your life savings, we think we've found the absolute craziest. Meet organist Jack Molman in next week's Assignment America.
All right, Steve, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And that's the CBS Evening News. I'm Russ Mitchell. Thanks for watching. Katie's back on Monday. Good night.
So what's the next stop?
Connect online and play against anyone in the world. with the best in entertainment. Comcast and Wii. Sign up for the Comcast Preferred Plus Triple Play and get a free Wii system.
Hello, would you like to buy a chocolate dunker?
You take the dunker and you dip it in the chocolate.
So
chocolatey and rich.
Those, actually,
Are from Pizza Hut, and I just delivered them.
and I'm not French. They're
like
really delicious.
Wouldn't mind if I had another one.
Only Pizza Hut has new Hershey's Chocolate Dunkers, freshly baked and served with chocolate dunking sauce. Now get them with the sweet meal deal. 2 medium pizzas with breadsticks and dunkers, just $19.99. Add Pepsi for $1. Delivered only by Pizza Hut.
Your good questions answered weeknights at 6.